Nearly 20 years ago, I codified some of the mechanisms that I thought were essential in a role-playing game. I took my experience with Dungeons and Dragons and Rollmaster and GURPS and myriad of other games, and I tried to boil away and distill down what I thought were the essential parts of a role-playing game, and then also try to fix some of the things that didn't make sense. And I came up with this thing, which was an interesting intellectual exercise, as I believe I had a wonderful game here. However, well, frankly, it was incomprehensible to most people. It was a radical departure from anything they'd seen before, and it left a lot of work on the table for the moderator to then inject the setting. And so I quickly realized that I couldn't be as dogmatic and simply slough off, oh no, that's setting, you can make that, you can make that, you can make that. I've got myself a role-playing paradigm, well, without the concrete examples and some of the tweaks that I later developed. Yeah, people just couldn't make sense of what I was showing them. However, I've learned a thing or two over the last 20 years, and now I'm starting to go through the test play cycle for what I'm calling Beyond the Role-Playing Game, which is a new role-playing system that will be different from what you've played, but will give you concrete examples, three overlapping settings that you can mix and match, and it's got a very modular design, so it's very easy to customize and drop rules in and out. And obviously what I'd love to see people do is actually create their own rules, and then they're going to be getting back more to what I was doing 20 years ago. But Beyond the Role-Playing Game is actually, in my opinion, is a much better game than what I had 20 years ago. I've cleaned up some of the mechanisms, unified some things, simplified things, made it faster in some respects, and I'm always tinkering and distilling it down to making sure that my core mechanisms are 100% interchangeable. So one of the constants has always been the vision about the game. So I'd like to read you my game design mandate from 20 years ago, and most of this is still relevant. And I'd called it Nailed to the Church Door. And bonus points for anyone in the comments who can illuminate what I'm referencing there. Dear Gamer, November 25th, 2002. Role-playing games have been around for many years, and the market is flooded with various systems and products. Therefore, it seems strange that anyone with any sense would launch into creating another set of rules. It is not strange. It is necessary. The proliferation of gaming systems out there indicate a need, a deficiency with what is available. Although there are many games on the market, none of them truly satisfy. There is something magical and wonderful in the ideas of all of these games, but in execution they begin to disappoint. I do not intend on creating a new game, but refining what is already there. The compiled works of thousands of creative, imaginative people show both promise and problem. What you find within these pages, or those pages, is a solution to these problems and a method of cleanly, seamlessly incorporating the myriad of wonderful ideas into a core system. Fantasy gamers seem to choose between vital elements of the game: playability, expandability, balance, and realism. They sacrifice storytelling elements in the name of simplicity, create artificial statistics that measure nonsensical notions, and use complicated charts to measure minute advantages while allowing the most egregious abuses of both fantasy and reality to go unchecked. Role-playing games can play like a book. Let's just make sure it's a good book. The systems that have been published fail to achieve for a number of reasons, but mostly because they try to do too much. I am publishing source books with my ideas of wonderful creatures and fantastic realms, and I hope they add to the already vast and marvelous array of work out there. However, my predecessors have written their wonderful ideas into their games at the beginning, warping and bending the framework, of their systems beyond usable adaptation. Before you think I missed the 80s and the universal games that were popular on the market at that time, let me describe my game designer's mandate and my attempt to respond to it. Just before I jump into that mandate, as an aside, so you can see in that last paragraph, I was clearly making the case that I didn't want to include any setting material in the game. And since my definition of what setting was particularly broad, it really felt, when people looked at this, it just felt very incomplete to them because they didn't have anything to work with, and sort of like a paint by numbers, where you give them the paints and blank canvas. Yeah, probably wasn't the best idea. And this is a course on painting. It's not a paint by numbers. So yeah, it had its flaws. Now, I think there were still some of the core elements of the game, some of the seismic shifts and realizations that I made in ways that we can speed up action, and we don't just have to have combat. Some of those resolutions carry forward. I've been playing with them for 25 years. So let me get back to what I wrote. The function of a fantasy role-playing game is to provide a medium of controlled interaction between the players, characters, and an imaginary game world. This game should make it easy for players to act as they desire and facilitate the imaginations of everyone without becoming false. It necessarily follows that a game of this description must be easy to use so as to not interfere with the play or break the player's willing suspension of disbelief. From this mandate, it is clear that the ideal game system provides a framework for adventure and imagination, but never becomes the game. The best system can hope to disappear. Players should never feel confined within the rules. Neither should they feel that they can bend that false reality to their whims. In both scenarios, the world becomes artificial. A good fantasy world is imaginary, unreal, often mystical, but never artificial. In order to maintain belief and encourage imagination, a game should provide a method of evaluating and understanding your character. When called upon, the game system should give you a method of plausibly returning random results. That's it. The gamers do the rest. In these pages, you will find a game of epic storytelling and monumental battles. You will be able to create a rich character with as much detail as you desire. When you learn how to play, which won't take long, you'll be in complete control of every aspect of the game. The level of detail, the method of resolving actions, and even the flow of time will be at your command to enhance your gaming experience. The game that follows is my response to my own letter nailed to the church door. I encourage others to do the same. Good gaming, Rich Mayo. Richard Mayo. That's one of those, personal journey things. Am I rich or am I Richard? It depends. It vacillates. Anyhow, so that was the mandate, and still in large part, I agree with what I said 20 years ago. Now, there's things about this I wouldn't word the same, and things about this that I do slightly now disagree with, and I take a moderated approach. But that's the core thing that we've been striving for 20 years, and I'm excited as I feel like we're really cracking this nut, and the gameplay is fast and sensible, and it seems intuitive to those who engage with it, and I'm really excited for the next round of test plays. This is where the rubber is going to really hit the road when this rule book, after the next set of edits, when this rule book starts hitting the people who never played with me before. Right now, all the testing is internal. Gather a group of people I know, run them through a few scenarios, get some feedback, go on, do some more testing, etc., etc. Next rounds is I'm going to gather people from across the internet who have an interest in what we're doing, and they're going to sign up on the website. They're going to have a gaming group and agree to give me feedback. There's going to be a feedback form on the website, and then I will ship them a book like this, similar to this, not exactly this content. I'm going through some changes and edits. When I'm done those, then those books will go out, and we'll get some feedback and some testimonials, and then I'll see what things are confusing to somebody who doesn't have the creator on standby, and then we're ready for a Kickstarter, because I just don't believe that it's in anyone's interest to publish too early until we've done the wider test and got a few of these. And obviously I'll sign the manuals for you too. If this thing blows up, then for free you'll have gotten something that could be a little bit of gaming history, because there's one or two elements in here that really solve some age-old problems with role-playing games, and to me, I dread the release of new games all the time, and I've been dreading it for years. When 3rd edition came out, the first thing I did, went out and bought it. Oh, they figured it out. And Pathfinder, oh, they figured it out. And then when Pathfinder Unchained came out, they almost scared me. They're like, oh, we've solved this. And I was like, oh no, they figured it out. I spent too much time on the internet talking about it, and people realized where I was going, and nope, they they hadn't figured it out. But yeah, every now and then that I see something that's coming out, an indie game, or somebody that says, "Oh, I've got it figured out," causes me to causes me stress, and I have to go out and buy it and look at it and read through it, and generally haven't solved the thing that I have. And every now and then I get some new ideas, or change the way I think of things, or enjoy the presentation of the idea. Like, there's so many great systems out there, but I completely reject the idea that there's no such thing as a good or better system. Oh, they're all just good at something. No, that's stupid. That really is stupid. I'm sorry, I can't be political about that. What a stupid thing to say, right? Oh, everything's good at something. It's like, well, yeah, no, you can have, that's like saying, oh, it doesn't matter who I got. Everyone's good at something, so I'm just going to make my soccer team out of, the first 10 people I meet. No, there are professionals, and there are things that you can do to make a game better. Just bugs me. Stupid thinking. Stupid people. As Toshishiro Obata would say, stupid, sit down, EI. He'd get so offended by Iaido, where they would start and say kneeling down before they draw their sword. What's samurai doing sitting on floor with sword? You sit on floor, you take your sword off. Don't go into battle sitting down. It was awesome. He'd go on such rants. Anyhow, have yourself a wonderful day, and stay safe with the pandemic, and I'll catch you next time.